We just finished talking to Voltaire Lepe, one of San Diego's top real estate agents, more than 500 million in lifetime sales, more than 84 doors owned in San Diego County. And in this session, you're going to walk away with his weekly negotiables and, more importantly, a tracker to make sure that you stay consistent for 2026. You got to listen to this one through the end. If you guys don't know Voltaire Lepe, he is out of the San Diego market. He runs a team, but the breadth beyond that is like so much more. More than 500 million in volume, more than 84 personal rentals in San Diego, personal production averaging more than 50 deals a year. What am I missing, Voltaire? How many people on the team?
There's about 45 agents here at the office. They all do their personal production. My job is just to coach and train them and help them along. And I do my own personal production. And then we have a property management company, manage about 200 doors around the city. I own 84 rentals. Um, and what else I do? We do a lot of financial literacy workshops for the kids in the neighborhood, and we support about six different organizations on a monthly basis as far as like money, to help out these nonprofits. So we do a lot.
I love that. I feel like such a dog because I'm over here just talking about like, the money he's making, but he's pouring back into the community. Like that's really why he's the guy with us today because he's so well rounded. So as always, as the school sessions, you guys know, it's collaborative. And within a group like this, if you have a good question, but he's flowing, put it in the chat. If it's so good and you want to raise your hand, please interact with us. But as we jump into it, Voltaire, you think safe place? I want everyone like it's hard to identify with Voltaire today because he is like so goated, but he was once not the goat he is today. So like nuts and bolts where you got started so we can get into the substance. But I think it'd be good for them to hear the context of like how you got the jump off.
Yeah, I'll give a quick 60-second bio on myself so you kind of get an idea, and then I'll take it to where I started and where I'm at now. So, born and raised in San Diego, California. I'm here today, beautiful and sunny. Now, when I was 5 years old, I grew up in Logan Heights, which is like kind of like the really ghetto area, especially back then, gang area in the 90s. So when I was 5 years old, my mom dropped me off at my grandfather's house. So then my grandfather raised me. She was young; she was 17 years old. So by the age of 10, I've done experience and seen everything there is to see on this planet. So it was like exciting and scary at the same time, and it was pretty crazy. My younger brother and sister, they got into gangs. My brother had to flee the state. They're out to get him, and then my sister married like the head gangbanger who went to prison for first degree murder. So that was kind of like the background that I grew up in. So when I was at 18 years old at San Diego High, I got into real estate. Started working at Century 21 office as an assistant. 2 years later, I had my license. And for me, real estate, the way they explained it to me was like, hey, look, you're just going to go talk to people and get business and make commission checks. And I was like, that's all I got to do, talk to people. I'm like, well, okay, that's not scary, right? Um, so that's what I did. The first 10 years of my career, I was pretty lost. I didn't really have proximity to like great agents or great investors or great anybody. So I just had proximity to normal realtors at the office. I think the top dog in my office at the time was doing about 30 deals a year. So I was like, man, you're making so much money. I want to be just like you. Um, so I was somewhere in the 15 to 24 deal range always, as an agent and just kind of door knocking. And it was hard, and it wasn't easy. And then I had my breakout year in 2013. Why? Because in 2012, I joined the coaching program, and all of a sudden I had proximity to like agents that were making a lot of money. The guy next to me that I met at the conference was making over 400,000 a year, and I'm like, what? You're making 400? I'm like, that means I could do it, like. And so proximity was huge for me, and that's when I had my breakout year from 20 something deals to all of a sudden I did 63 deals in 2013, myself and my sister who was my assistant. My sister's still with me as an assistant. So that's how I had my breakout year. And then after that, it was like, okay, cool, 60, 70, 80 deals a year. Last year, fast forward to today. And by the way, along that time in 2013-ish, I bought my first rental and then a second rental, third, fourth, fifth rental. Now I have 84 rentals in San Diego. So as you can imagine, I don't need to work anymore as a realtor, but I really enjoy helping people and motivates me, and that's why I'm still doing it as an individual realtor. Um,
That's gotta be
last
one of the
year,
most impressive things about you, brother, is like never touting team numbers, always focusing on the individual. And I think what's special about you is like you never seem to be chasing shiny objects. You just have the stuff that you do. And your North Star seems to be the investment portfolio. It seems to be everything is always driving towards like your retirement plan. And gosh, I admire that.
thank you, appreciate it. And so that's what I am. I'm a realtor, and my realtor has helped me create this wealth for myself. So today, what I kind of wanted to cover was like some non-negotiables that I have, the tactics that I use on a day-to-day basis in order to drive my business. Last year, I did 52 sides here in San Diego. Um, Usually it's a little bit more, but I did get married last year. I bought a 25-unit apartment complex and I bought a triplex. So I was focused on other things other than, selling homes. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. So I got married and engaged last year, all in the same year. So it was a busy year for me.
In 2026, he's having a baby.
And 2026, I'm having a baby. Yeah, thank you. Yep. So it's exciting. My life's changed very fast. And I'm so grateful to God for that. So that's my intro. Now, there's three rules of life that are pretty, you know, they're real, right? This is Tony Robbins' three rules of life. Number one is life is not fair. Number two, you're not entitled to anything. And then number three, no one is coming to save you. And for years, one of my coaches would always tell me, "Hey, no one's coming for you. No one's coming for you." And and it's true. If we're gonna get ourselves, if we're gonna buy our first investment property or save up $100,000, it's up to us. No one's gonna come for us. Life isn't fair. We're not entitled to anything. So that's kind of the mentality that I think that we got to go into 2026 with, and we just got to go and hunt our own food, right? So what I'm gonna share my screen real quick, that you guys kind of see it. So we need a 2026 simple vision. So there's seven things to my vision always. One is work, one is friends, one is money, which I'm not showing you here. One is spirituality. I'm not showing self, love life, etc. You get so right now I'm just showing you two out of seven. So my simple work vision is 60 homes for 60 million and net $1 million. That's my simple vision for 2026. I also partnered with 24 agents, so my rev share could increase. My friends, my simple vision for my friends is hoop and hang out bi-weekly at church, right? It also hits the spirituality thing for me. And then hoop weekly and have coffee weekly with friends. So one coffee meeting a week, I'm happy with my friends. Hooping one time a week, I'm happy with my friends. So I think um, to kind of backtrack, everyone here needs a vision and it's got to be simple. Not this crazy, all these things like, yeah, you could have that, but you should be able to articulate it. Hey, I want to help 60 families for 60 millions and net $1 million. That's my simple vision for this year. And then friends, I want to hang out and have coffee with friends once a week and play hoops. And that makes me happy. So I think everyone should have something like that. Now, my non-negotiables, um, and you can stop me at any time, Chris, right? If you have
Oh, you're
questions.
flowing. This is so
Cool.
good.
So my non-negotiables on a daily basis is speak to 10 people a day. So 10 people a day times 365 days, that's 365 conversations. Sorry, 3,650 conversations a year. So this is very simple, 101, and I'll go over why in a bit, okay? Um, my second non-negotiables is get 24 leads a month. That's all I need. 24 solid leads or referrals a month. And I just got to convert at 21%. That means 5 deals a month, 5 clients served, that's 60 a year. And then my other non-negotiable is in order to accomplish this, 10 people a day, I fill out this greatness tracker. And this is very simple. Um,
I can't believe you still do this, bro. Like, this is one of the reasons why you're goated. This is crazy.
yeah, so this is, you know, this week I spoke to, this specific week I spoke to 23 people sorry, I met with 23 people face to face in person. I had 8 coffees or lunches, and then I did 81 sorry, over the phone conversations, right? Sent out 20 thank you cards. But I just fill this out every single week. And if, on my desk right now, I got my little thing, and it's like, this is this week so far. So my goal is 10 per day. So far this week, I spoke to 13 people per day. So I'm pretty happy with that. Um, so it's very simple. Again, I don't try to over, complicate my life. So let me tell you a couple stories. The first story is kind of how this 10 person a day idea came. Okay. There's a guy here in San Diego years ago, and I noticed he owned a lot of real estate. So I reached out to him and I said, "Hey, can I meet with you?" Sure. I went to his office. It was in Bankers Hill in San Diego. When I got there, he opened the doors of a big Victorian home, and it was like an old Jewish guy in a suit, and he's probably like, I don't know, like 70 or 80. I mean, he was old. And he's like, "Come on in." And he's got a suit, tie, everything. He sits me down and he tells me about his story. He got into real estate back in the 60s. Okay. He happens to own the spaghetti factory, the building in downtown, not the business, but the building. And the spaghetti factory would rent from him. And during this time, this is 2010-ish, 2011. This guy owned about back then it was about $60 million worth of real estate. Today it'd be hundreds of millions of dollars worth of real estate in San Diego. And he owned all these parcels over throughout the city. And I asked him, I said, "Man, how did you do it?" Whatever, right? And he says, "You want to learn the secret to making money?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Talk to 10 people a day about real estate." And I go, "10 people a day?" He goes, "That's all you have to do. It's simple, but it's really hard to do." And I go, "Dude, no, man. There's like this thing called Zillow. There's this thing called Facebook. Like all this like internet stuff is happening. Like you don't know what you're talking about." And he was like older man. He goes, "That's it, man." He goes, real estate never changes. It's always going to be a relationship business. And if you talk to 10 people a day about real estate, you're always going to make money. So unfortunately, I disregarded his advice back then, right? I was like, "Man, this guy's an old timer. He don't know what he's talking about." But again, I forgot the fact that he owned so much real estate and he was such a deca millionaire. And I'm just like discounting his advice, right? So, anyways, fast forward years later, guess what? He was right. 10 people a day, that's all it takes. And your business would be like life changing, right? Now, I'm going to cover who I talk to. Okay. So every Monday, you guys could write this down. Every Monday, I talk to 10 VIPs. Who's a VIP? Someone in my life who refers me business, someone in my life who's a business owner, someone in my life who owns a lot of real estate, someone in my life who I enjoy, I talk to, and they also enjoy and like me, right? So the goal is to have 40 total people in my life like that. And a lot of my family are my VIPs, right? Because we do business and life together. So I call 10 every Monday. On Tuesdays, I call all my status calls, all my listings, all my buyers in contract. On Wednesdays, I call all my leads. So the last 3 months of leads, I call them, right? So Wednesdays, I call leads. Thursdays, and I don't always call 20. It's a lot. It's really hard to call 20 people, make 20 outbound calls on Thursdays, but these are past clients. So the goal is to call 20 clients a week. And then on Fridays, that's when I call, people who are rich, people who have big businesses. And the goal is to call 5 outbound rich people every Friday, right? And so this is a very easy schedule.
Right. It's
I
so easy, it's
Go ahead.
hard. It's
Exactly.
so easy, it's hard.
I'll tell you the hard part. The hard part is actually getting this list together
Right.
because you're gonna have to sit down, you're gonna have to go through your database and your phone. I have about 5,700 contacts on my phone. So you're gonna have to go through your phone and then you're gonna have to like figure out, okay, who belongs on Mondays, who belongs on, Thursdays. And so that's the hard part. But once you got that done, then you know who to call. And my goal again is 10 per day. Um, that's 70 a week. So when that old rich guy told me 10 a day, he meant Saturdays and Sundays too.
Right.
But I don't work Sundays, so I try to just fit everything, in a perfect world, Monday through Thursday, and I'm done with my week. But a lot of times it extends to Friday. So I work Monday through Friday, and then so that's kind of who I call.
Let me, sorry, is this can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
Go
please.
back up, Voltaire. I'm thinking about, just some of the things that might be popping up in people's heads or resistance immediately is like 10 VIPs on Monday. My immediate thought is like, well, I might be able to call 10 people this Monday, but who the heck am I calling next Monday? Um, are you like, is this a lot of the same repeat people every week? Are you looking for more VIPs? Tell me about that.
It's the same people.
I love that.
It's the same people. So imagine for me to get 52 closings last year, all referrals. Okay. How do I do that? Well, I have to build relationships and I have to go deep, right? So one thing about real estate agents that they do not want to hear, trust me, I was fighting this too, is um, we need to be in relationship with people. So if you really think about it, who's your barber? Who's your mechanic? Well, it's probably somebody that you know, like, and trust, right? Or it's one of your friends, people that they know, like, and trust. So how does that work? Well, you want to be the person who's always building that relationship. So every Monday, once a week, people hear from me, same people over and over, and I'm building relationships. Right? I know about their kids, I know about their life, I know about their goals, right? Like right now, I just got off the phone with one of my clients, and she's telling me about her daughter. She's 36. Her boyfriend doesn't want to commit, doesn't want to get married, doesn't, and is like going back and forth about getting married, going back and forth about having kids. And she's sharing all these, like, that's pretty deep, right? That her daughter's experiencing, and I'm sharing like my stuff and what I went through and how, I was also, on that same path, and unfortunately, you know, I wasted a lot of people's times. So we're going deep. It's not like we're just like surface level. So imagine having those type of conversations week after week. That's how you build relationships over time. And that's how you start to get people thinking of you like, oh, you know what? Call Voltaire, right? So you don't have to go out there. But now the mistake I made, Chris, to piggyback on that was the mistake I made in the past was thinking I need to talk to everybody. So all those
Right.
conversations are watered down. So instead
Right.
of having 33,650 conversations a year with the same people over and over, I'm having 3,650 conversations with different people. Guess what? I'm not building relationships with anyone. So the goal is you want to build relationships where people are just going to refer you. That's kind of it, and unfortunately, a lot of us in real estate, and I know this because I went through this, that's scary. You know, it's like I don't want to ask them about their kids. I don't want to ask them about their life, and I went through that, especially as a young realtor, where I'm like, how am I going to ask them about their kids? I'm like 21, and they're, I don't know nothing about life. Um, but that's kind of how you got to do it.
I think there's two, like you're so on it, and I've been thinking about this a lot, and I hope it resonates with some of you guys. I'm not sure if you felt in the past. I think you have, Voltaire, because you just mentioned it. It was like 3,650 conversations with different people. Tell me if anybody can relate to this, where you see these things on your calendar, like prospecting or marketing or working on something, and the goal is to get it done as opposed to like really cultivate it. And I've been trying to shift my mind when it comes to certain activities. And so much of that is sometimes like video because I love video so much. And I ask myself, why am I rushing through this to get it done when I know that if I put some conscious effort into it, like the results go from 90 to 120. And I think that's like exactly where Voltaire is talking about is in regards to these calls is like if you're making calls every day or you're posting stuff every day, perhaps the issue isn't with like the strength in which you're showing up to do it, but like you're showing up to get it done. And that's a different attitude than showing up to do something well, right? It's different than showing up to get deep. So I think like tell me if I'm wrong, Voltaire. Like, I think you can read between the lines when you're on the phone with somebody who's spinning your wheels and like just talking to talk that's like going nowhere. You rush through those ones. But on the ones where it's like you're really connecting, like is that resonating with anybody? You guys feel me on that? It's like you rush through certain things when that's where the value is.
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree. I mean, a lot of times we want more, but what we should want is better.
Yes.
So better, deeper relationships is instead of more relationships and more conversations. Does that make sense? So it's kind of like, and yeah, Tanya's asking about the 40 VIPs. Yeah, so it's four groups of 10, and then four groups of 10. So every week, 10 different people, and then throughout the month, I talk to them one time. Um,
A question that I have, and I know it's like popcorning a little bit, but I think about this a lot with you, Voltaire, because you're operating at such a high level. And I just admire so much. Voltaire lived across the street from me in San Diego, and I would just admire his house and admire his business and just admire everything that he was doing. And I think one thing that I think about with you is you keep hitting levels of success, but you keep doing these non-negotiables, and even people that are doing it, I feel like have stuff fall off when they get busy. But you somehow manage to still do like a lunch once a week with somebody. Or how many face-to-faces are you doing a week? 10?
um, Lunches four, and then face to face is 10.
Did you guys just hear that number?
Yeah. So lunches could also mean coffees. So I have four to at least minimum four coffees slash lunches a week, and then 10 face to face a week. Yeah. And yeah, and you know why it's a non-negotiable? Because that's what got me here. I was able to buy my first investment property because I had commission income coming in. I was able to buy my second investment property because I had commission income coming in. So being a great realtor fuels everything else.
Mhm.
So I think that's the first step is we all have to be a great realtor, and we all have to think like, hey, we're out there serving people.
Yeah.
When you have a service mentality, like I'm your servant, right? Even Jesus washed, his disciples' feet. That's what fuels everything. When you have that mindset, it's like, okay, let me serve some people, and then from there, at a high level, white glove service, and everything else is going to be coming back to you.
Voltaire,
Yeah.
do you know the name Jordan Cohen? He's an agent out of LA, kind of like a celebrity agent. Whatever.
Mm,
He's a top dog like you. And one thing that he said when he was here with us a couple months ago was like the way he conversates with his consumer, with his clients, he's like, "You're the boss, I'm working for you." And despite
mm-hmm.
him being like a don, he totally had this approach. And I don't think it's something that a lot of salespeople embody in this role. And I think there's just something to be said, especially with agents at your level still approaching the business that way, because I do believe it's what it's about.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree. That's what it is, And by the way, this is a relationship with our clients. Um, we are serving them. They are the boss. They could fire us, right? But at the same time, when I sit down with a client, just like I did a little bit ago, I said, "Hey, look it. This is a one-page buyer broker agreement. You're hiring me. You're paying me this percentage. This is everything I'm gonna do for you. At the same time, this is what I expect."
Mhm.
And and when I went into the expectations, I said, obviously a fee, but then more than that is I said, you can fire me anytime if I'm not good, if I'm not answering answering your calls between the business hours and being responsive. But at the same time, I can hire you if you're not nice to me, right? So, um, going back to your thing, they are our boss, but we want to work with nice bosses, people that are like, that are nice. And I think if you work your business that way, dude, you're always going to be happy. You're going to want to wake up and go to work every day. I know times that I didn't want to go to work is because I had a mean boss. I had mean clients. So I think knowing to choose your clients that's key as well.
Jesse, man, I love Jesse Vargas out of Vegas. Jesse is
Mhm.
asking about these 10 face-to-face. Are those scheduled meetups? You took the question out of my mouth, Jesse. Are those scheduled meetups when you are out and about, or do you integrate 10 conversations with strangers? Like, I
Good question.
yeah, how are
Yeah.
you doing that?
Those are scheduled. So, for example, yesterday, I met with Jerry,
Look
past
at
client. He
this.
came in.
Screenshot it, y'all. This your calendar,
Yeah,
Voltaire?
this is my calendar. So everything in green is like prospecting, right? So I met with this guy. He came in. I did have a 3:45, but he canceled or rescheduled. Another guy named Chris, same name. He
Dang,
came
Chris.
in. And then this one. So yesterday I had one, two, three face-to-face meetings. one canceling, so I would have had four. And then Bible study, you know, is anyone in this group my client? Yeah, one guy. So I had one other face to face during Bible study yesterday. And then um and yeah, so this is like, this is next week. So next week
So
MLK, we're off.
So let
Go
me
ahead.
ask you about these. Like, so when you're working towards next week, like today's Wednesday,
Yeah.
part of hitting your goals for next week is 10 face-to-faces. You're not setting those appointments next week. Like you're setting that now so that
Now
you
for
have
next
your
week.
goals for next week.
Yeah. So anything in green, like this big box right here, like Thursday, 22nd. If a client or I have, if I'm on a call, someone refers me or whatever, what I do is I know that this entire thing is for prospecting, so I could schedule it for myself as a 1 hour, 30-minute face to face. I know that
Hmm.
this is open. And so, anyways, that's kind of how I do it. So I book it for the next week. So next week, for example, on Tuesday, I'm meeting with this guy. He's selling his place. Or actually, I'm actually speaking. He runs a school, so I'm gonna go teach the kids financial literacy, and then I'm gonna meet with him afterwards to talk about selling his place. And then
So
I got a buyer appointment that same day at 4. So I have two face-to-face plus an event, and at the event I might meet some people. And then in the morning I'm meeting this guy, top realtor in San Diego. He wants to see that property I bought because he wants to build his. He already owns a bunch of real estate, but he wants to learn how to grow it faster. So I booked for the next week for sure.
the other thing I love about here, and I know this is what we're not diving into, but I love the little 15-minute blocks that you have for social media videos and filming this or
Oh
doing that.
yeah,
I can't emphasize enough in 2026, maybe
yeah, right
it's
here.
you're probably going to
Yeah,
do this even, it looks like you're doing it already, but I think you're going to do it even more when you have this baby. But I feel like I'm getting more things done these days by accepting 15-minute time blocks and really impressing myself and what I can get done in like a short period of time.
yeah.
Right. So I think there's a level of like us squandering time of the day when it's like I got a 12 o'clock and I have an 11 o'clock and the 11 got done at 11:30 and like what am I, you know what I mean? I'm spinning
Hmm.
wheels for 30 minutes. It feels like that's where some bosses like Voltaire are really just like shaking the tree for what it's worth. When you when you think Voltaire about a lot of these well, they're not negotiable, so that's kind of a trick question. It's like if you were to rank some of these, because we got 45 people here, and I think the
Hmm.
45 are ranging in business from new people to more veteran people. So I'm gonna ask it in a couple of different parts. For everyone on here that's like a new agent, when you look at your non-negotiables, if they're overwhelmed by this, like what do you think is number one or two? And would that be the same for somebody that's like 5 or 10 years into the business?
Yeah. Um, so I'm not going to disagree with the guy who um ended up passing away with over $100 million net worth, which was the old Jewish man that told me 10 people a day. So the first non-negotiable, talk to 10 people a day about real estate. If you do that and that alone, that's going to lead to obviously face-to-face meetings and all these things. But if you do that alone, you'll have more money than you need for the rest of your life. And it's very simple. So I would rank that number one. Now, a lot of people, a lot of realtors are going to be like, well, I can't, how am I going to talk to 10 people a day? Talk to 3 people a day. Start there. That's 15 a week. That's 60 a month, right? So just focus on something small and then just build your way up. So 3 people a day. And then after that, do 5 people a day. But if we're all in real estate, we should be able to go into our phone right now. Like I'm going to go into my phone right now and I go to my contact list and I scroll all the way to the bottom. And of course, I have 5,700 contacts on my phone list. Now, if someone made your phone, that means that they're like somewhat important to you or you kind of know them. So that's where you start. You open up your cell phone and this is the hard part. We're all in real estate. We're supposed to be like people. We're supposed to like be people oriented. I wasn't for a long time. I was like, man, I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to deal with people. But this is what we do. And if you want to stay in this business, get used to it. And I think if you practice it, like me, I've been practicing it for many years, and now I like people more than I've ever liked people. You know, like I really do, and it's like I talk to them, and if there's a way I could help them by introducing them to my barber or my mechanic or my this morning I introduced somebody to my tax attorney. That fulfills me. That makes me feel good, when I'm helpful to others. So everyone on here should know their purpose, their mission, and their motivation. What motivates you? My motivation is feeling valuable. So whenever I could help anyone like Krys, like jumped on here and helping you guys, that makes me feel valuable, and it makes me feel good, and that's what helps me get out of bed. Um, Now, I told you one story. I'm gonna tell you the second story. I was in Thailand for Christmas break. I landed in LAX last Tuesday, a week ago, and I caught the Amtrak back to San Diego. On the Amtrak on the way back, there's some kid, Chris. He was like young, early 20s, and he was on his phone the entire time, and he's like very charismatic, dude. He was like, "Hey, what's up? How are you? Yeah, I'm on my way to San Diego. Want to meet up? All right, cool. I'll see you in a bit." And then the next one, "Hey, tonight it's gonna be lit. It's gonna be lit, and man, we're gonna have a great time." And I'm like, he was enthusiastic. He was just like having a great time on the phone. And then another one, "Oh yeah, man, I got this car. Yeah, I got it. I'll have it ready for you. Yeah, not a problem. Blah blah blah." So, anyways, it was crazy because he was loud and he was on his phone the entire time, right? Imagine like 2.5 hours down to San Diego. And one guy walked up to me, says, "Hey, I heard that you flip cars or wholesale. Like, I'm trying to get into that, and I got this first car and blah blah blah." And the guy said, "You know what? Sit down. Hey, let me look at the deal." He looked at the deal and he goes, "No, you're doing it wrong. You got to talk to a DMV first, and you got to do this and that." And he helped them, and he says, "You know what? I'm gonna help you. Don't even worry about it. Don't worry about paying me." And I was like, "Oh shoot." And then the guy got up and he was very grateful. Older than him, he was like, "Thank you so much." Blah blah blah. He left and he was happy. He got helped, and I was like, "What the heck?" So then I was like, "Dude, I gotta talk to this kid." I walked right up to him and I go, "Hey, I heard you on the phone and you sell cars," but he goes, "Yeah, yeah, take a seat." And like he did the same thing that he did to the other guy, like take a seat, like it's his office. He's like, "Yeah, take a seat, sit down. Let me get to know you. What's your name? Where you from?" And he starts like, I was like, "Oh shoot." So I go, "Hey, you sell cars, you make good money?" He goes, "Oh, I make really good money." I go, "Oh shoot, okay, how much you make?" He goes, "On a weekly basis net, I make about 4 grand a week." I go, "Oh shoot, that's good money?" He goes, "Yeah, man, I'm making good money." And I go, "You ever think about real estate?" He goes, "I can't afford real estate." I go, "No, no, no, not like buying real estate," which he can, by the way, right? For 4 grand net a week. I go, "Not buying real estate, but real estate sales." He goes, "What's that?" And I go, "You help people buy and sell homes. That's what I do." And he goes, "Really?" He says, "You think I'd be good at it?" I go, "I think you'd be really good at it." And he goes, "Well, how does it work?" And I gave him the whole breakdown. And I go, each house in right here in Southern California, right? He's from Orange County or LA or somewhere. I go, "You're gonna be making like 15 to 20,000 on the low end." He goes, "Really?" He goes, "Oh yeah, okay, that sounds good." And I gave him all we exchanged information. Bro, I got up, my station had came. So I said, "I gotta go, I'll see you later." And then he stops me before I leave. And he looks kind of scared. He goes, "Hey, um, how do I get clients?" And I go, "You get clients by doing exactly what you just did for the last 2.5 hours." He was calling his friends and his family, and he's enthusiastic, and he was checking in on them. Like he was just chopping it up, building relationships. That's all he was doing. He wasn't looking for business. He wasn't looking for all these things. He was just being a genuine good friend.
Voltaire, I'm with you, and I agree with you, and I believe you because like I trust I like I'm with you. I'm gonna be devil's advocate because like somebody
Yeah.
here is feeling it differently than you.
Mm-hmm.
What are you like? What does the dude who don't have the money in the bank saying when it's like, let me just trust that giving value is the move? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know who I'm speaking to right now. Like the agents are like, this is all good and dandy, but like I'm broke.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel you. I've been broke too. You know, I've been that realtor that woke up on Saturday mornings thinking about how much money I have in my bank account, panicking, and just saying, "Dude, I gotta get out of bed and I gotta go door knock." Because that's how I started. I gotta go door knock every freaking house until someone says yes that they need my services, and then I just gotta make my next commission check. So, um, at the end of the day, there's a lot of ways to get business. There's door knocking strangers, there's cold calling strangers, there's all kinds of stuff. What I learned is the best over the years is, serving others, building relationships, just like that kid on the train, dude. As soon as all those same people he talked to, as soon as he calls him and says, "Hey, I'm a realtor now. I'm not flipping cars anymore,"
Right.
his life's gonna change, because those people that he already built relationships with, they're gonna show him love and they're gonna refer him their friends and family, and that's really at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. But I would say that, hey, I came from, where I came from. I just explained where I came from. So it's like for me, it's like,
Trust.
yeah, I've been super broke, and now I got a lot of money. I'm wealthy, and so I've experienced both. But I will tell you, my first 10 years, I was doing it wrong. My broker, you know what my broker taught me at Century 21 when I first joined? He says, go door knock every neighborhood, put up bandit signs, get clients. And when you get a client, he says, show up to the house. And this is back then when you would go to the house or you're driving in your car. Like this is before, they could search online on their own. This is before all that. He said, whenever you have a client, just get the contract signed, get it done. Don't ask them about their day. Don't ask them about their work. Don't ask them about their family, their friend. Like, and I was like, okay, I didn't know, but he did business uh, to the point where he would always have to be fishing every day, meaning door knocking and trying to get new business. The way I'm doing business now, that I learned years later, unfortunately, is the way I'm doing business now is always going to come to me because people are always going to refer me and love on me.
When you think about, um, and feel free, guys, if you have questions, this is the fair time to chime in. What's up, Jesse? I see the camera on. You got a haircut. Um, when you think like you have a strong North Star, like it's impressive to me the hunger you have at this place in your career, right? Like I feel like people ain't that hungry when they're making 15 and 25 deals a year. That's truly why most agents get stuck there because it's like I'm comfortable enough. So clearly there's something internal that's like I want this bad enough. Part of me thinks you have goals beyond selling houses, like so 60 units,
Mhm.
multifamily, buying rentals has been a big piece. Do you feel like your North Star of investments of being a landlord is kind of what, like, do you think that the other goals in your life is what's motivating you to do some of the sales stuff? And like in
Yeah,
2013, bought the first rental, like, talk to me about that.
of course, man. So my North Stars, so I think everyone needs to write this down. Everyone needs a purpose, a mission, and then the vision that we just talked about. So purpose, mission, vision, and then the last one, the fourth thing is the motivation. What motivates you? You already heard my motivation, being valuable to others, right? My purpose is it's threefold. It's create disciples of God. So that's like the number one. Build wealth for myself and others, and build deep relationships in order to inspire and influence. So that's my purpose, right? How am I going to do that? By my mission. My mission is OPM, other people's money. If I help enough people with their money, my life is easy. Meaning, if I help people build their real estate portfolio, I get a commission check every time. Then my life is easy. If I have help realtors here at the office build their business, build their real estate portfolio, my life is easy. I'm blessed enough to say there's an agent here at the office. She owns 17 doors. There's another agent here at the office. He owns 14 doors. Like that, every time they pick up a door, investment property, a deal, that makes me feel good because I had some part to do with that. That's OPM, other people's money. Um, and I have that written down on my wall. So it's right here, right? My mission, purpose, motivation. Now, as far as like another North Star, okay? So that's like kind of like what I just mentioned. But there's a book called Big Five for Life. And this kind of made my life a little bit more simple. Um, so in the book, it basically says, hey, look it, pick five things that you want out of life. Right. And then, people pick, oh, I want to be an author. I want to speak a second language or whatever. Those are five things. But I did pick five things, like the fun five, I call it. But then I also picked like five character things that I want out of life. So when I'm in the coffin and people are saying things about me, I want them to say these five things. Number one, he was a man of God. Number two, he was a family man. Like he was a good husband, good father, which I'm hoping to accomplish soon. Um, Three is he was community. based. Like he always gave to his community. Number four, this is something that I struggle with. I didn't have this in the past. Joy. He was joyful. Why? Because someone like me who's like accomplishing things, I'm like, okay, I'm done with this. Next. What's the next thing? And I don't sit in the moment and soak it in and say, wow, I should be joyful. This should be fun. So I want people to say I have joy. And then the fifth thing I want people to say about me is he was a peaceful person. He was a peaceful guy. Why? Because I made decisions working with clients that gave me peace. I made decisions that gave me peace every day. So that makes my life easier. So if I choose something that isn't going to give me peace, I don't want it. You know, stress, all that. No. But anyhow, that's kind of my North Star to answer your question.
Why does that make me feel? Why am I the only one that feels a little choked up? I don't know why that made me like a little emotional. I think partly like being a young man, being in sales, it's like chasing this what you think is the goal, but then you talk to your role models and it's just like enlightened that you're chasing the wrong thing. And I don't know why that provoked some sort of feeling listening to you describe that because it's so simple, but it's so difficult all at the same time. You know what I mean? And it's like so many competing interests. Um, I have to say that, and I don't know if anybody else felt those chills as well. Um, my
Thank you.
next question is off. I hope somebody has a question because I just like you just threw me for a second. Um, the the sit downs is something that's important to me because I feel like this body to body thing is so critical. I think that's like a lot of agents make calls and stay in the box. Like I'm in the booth right now. I know you're in the
Mhm.
office. You know
Yep.
he's real when he has a headset like that. If somebody like
Ah,
Ovias Hassan, whatever, brother, I know that you're doing some shit there. Like, but these 10, there was a question that I think Tanya asked. Are you qualifying certain things to make them fit these non-negotiables? It's like you're only competing against yourself. So like
mhm.
I know that sometimes I'm like, oh, that's a listing appointment. But maybe it's not always a listing appointment. It's like that's a listing conversation. You know what I mean? But I do that shit with my own business sometimes. These sit downs are, help me frame sort of how you have your conversation with some of those non-negotiables. Really, these in-persons. Like, is it
Mhm.
going to always be like I'm talking to them about real estate, or does a buyer consult fit into this face-to-face that week or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, the face to face is, I just count anything where I'm sitting down with them and we're just talking about anything. It could be life, it could be real estate. Like yesterday, I had a face to face with someone. It was actually a break bread. We had some coffee. Now, he happens to be a founder of several banks. Okay. So it's like this dude had a lot of money and a lot of pool in San Diego, period. Right. He could pick up the phone and get anyone on the call. But my whole thing was just sitting down, chop it up with him and no agenda. And guess what? At the end, he says, "Oh, what do you got up tomorrow? What do you got? Whatever." And I told him what we were doing this morning, coffee and cash. And I go, "Oh, you know what? The topic is how to offset your income, your W-2 income by owning real estate." He goes, "You know what? My wife has been begging me to get into real estate investing. I don't know nothing about it, and she tells me because I need to offset my income." And I was like, "Oh, shoot." So that turned into by some miracle like a lead, but that was the,
Right.
the plan. The plan was just being human and sitting down and having a conversation. And yeah, so I don't quantify things, like that. Let's say it's just like, hey, like if we schedule a coffee, somebody reaches out to me, they want to meet, or I want to meet somebody, that's just a, a,
Right.
a face-to-face.
Well, I would say this because I think about this and trying to implement certain pieces into my own business, and it's kind of like the net. And you have been diligent and consistent with your coffee and cash on the
Hmm.
mornings. Like you have a
Yeah.
few things that are on the calendar that are always happening. And I think there's something to be said about having something in which you always know you can point people to because there's often like a what's next type thing. So I say this to all of you guys thinking about January, thinking about how you're connecting with your sphere, how you think you're connecting with your clients. Sometimes having something on the calendar is what you need to give you the opportunity to have that follow up and not be like if Voltaire didn't have naturally the cash and coffee, the opportunity wasn't there. So it's beautiful to lead first in this servant mentality, but at the same time, it's very strategic in the business to have something constantly going that you get to point people back to. You feel me? That's why you do client events. That's why you host different networking events so that you have something to give at the end of that. Um, I really believe so. Everyone's across the country right now. How many people? Drop me a one if you're in SoCal or if you're in California. Give me a one for Californians. I'm curious if there's okay. Not that many Californians, but everyone in the United States is number one. Everyone in the United States, just about. This is like top of mind for me. You guys saw the headlines about the Trump and the 401k thing. You guys, anybody see that in the news
I
yesterday?
didn't, no, I didn't see it.
So yesterday, Trump made an announcement, Voltaire, potentially by executive order, potentially, this is not official yet, but that's
Mhm.
fine because like you're here to deliver the news to people, that he may allow people to withdraw money from their 401ks penalty free.
Oh, shoot.
That would be radical. The reason I'm sharing this with you guys is because as the news is happening, as things are happening, I think it's important for us as real estate agents to maybe have a catch to send people to, or always have something on the calendar to send people to. So, like, I give you this small example for the 401k thing, but then I'm going to give the California people, Voltaire, this is you right now, the Cal Halfa 150 California Dream Program. But we start with the
Mm-hmm.
401k. So if this 401k thing really is the hot news right now and it does get some traction, my belief is that putting together a basic webinar or a basic something to invite people to talk about that is ripe when you're calling. Like, so Nathan's a young man. Nathan and I probably have a lot of people in our life that are in their 30s to mid 40s that have 401ks that don't have a lot of cash in the bank that can afford a mortgage, but they don't have the down payment. What my thought is having this headline news is why am I not scheduling something in which I can call the homies and say, I'm doing this thing on this day, right? Or you're just meeting people.
Yeah.
Like you're not actually trying to shove that down nobody's throat, but you have this for when you need it. The one that we're doing next week, Voltaire, that I think like the sooner you can give it to somebody on the team who might be interested in it is like you saw the California Dream for All news hit.
Yeah.
So there is no doubt that people are going bonkers over that, and the questions about it are crazy. I think there are constantly things happening in which us agents need to schedule something to give people an opportunity to connect with us later. So if you're calling
Yep.
it Sphere, maybe you have a dinner or something in which you can invite them to in a month. Maybe you're calling them about the news about 401k. Maybe it's because you're inviting them to a webinar. Like, I think there's something to be said about how he's able to close things, not in a salesy, gross way, but he's always got something to bring them to.
Yeah, you're right. And good thing you mentioned that because
Please.
I lead with value, right? So whenever I'm talking to somebody on my board right here behind the camera, it says three events. Vision board party this Saturday at 11 a.m. at the office, Coffee and Cash, which was this morning at 8 a.m., and then State of the Market Address, which is a Zoom next Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. So as I'm talking to my clients, as I'm talking to people, I look at these and say, I wonder which one of these would add value to that person. And I go, hey, you know, I know you're thinking about buying real estate this year. We have State of the Market. It's a Zoom. You're going to find out what's happening later this year. Or like, hey, what's your vision for the year? What's your goal? And then they tell me, or I'm not sure. Hey, you should come to our vision board party. It's going to be this Saturday. So I have 2 to 3 events a month minimum and I'm always inviting people. So one thing to note about me and my business is I've been doing a lot of workshops and a lot of like educational things for over 10 years now. And I invite everyone to it. I invite my clients, I invite other agents, to a point where it turned into financial literacy for kids. So now I do like programs where I go to high schools and 4 hour events, 2 hour events, 30-minute events for kids, and then also adults. So I've been doing this for so long. And someone asked me earlier, like, hey, how do you meet like these high powered people? Um, it's because of that. Just over the years, giving so much, all of a sudden they show up. So I've had some like a couple guys with $1 billion portfolios show up to my Coffee and Cash because they heard it from somebody else. And this, so it's just if you're consistent enough, I think that was Jesse. If you're consistent enough, Jesse, just like giving value forward. then all of a sudden people will just start showing up, and it takes some time, but over time you get introduced to the right people.
And I promise y'all, like 2026, make it the year done is better than perfect. When Voltaire says 3 events a month, I know, including myself, part of me's like, man, that's crazy. But don't think that every event is the red carpet, 7 course meals. These events are Zooms. These events are coffee meetups. I'm not minimizing anything, but what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say is nothing needs to be perfect to launch it. So like you don't have this webinar organized, no problems. Forget the slide deck. Forget whatever you're going to talk about. Make the Zoom link, make the registration link, put it out there, and then figure out the deck because our inability to just put something on the calendar is what's not allowing us to like give the follow up after the value. And that's where they're lost. Like that's always where the deals are lost, right? Like they're not buying a house with him at that first phone call. It's the meetup in which they see him in person and they're just like, I trust this guy. You
Mhm.
know, he's so tall and so smooth and he dresses so well. Voltaire is very tall in person. So I just think there's, man, you're just like constantly 1-2 punching. You're constantly 1-2. You're not actually constantly 1-2 punching. You're constantly just like 1-1-2, one one
Yeah,
two, and
lots of jabs.
a lot of jabs, and it's so simple. It's sickening because agents just love to make it complicated. Do you
True.
feel like you have an urge to do some stuff sometimes, like as social has taken off and you've seen it continue to take off? Like, are there times in which I don't know, like what are you telling yourself not to chase certain shiny objects? I guess at this point it's like you know what you need to do to make money, but
I always wanted to chase shiny objects all the time. I have an executive assistant. She keeps me on game, and she's like, "Nope, that's not your goal." So she knows my goals. We have them here posted on the wall, and it's her job to keep me in check because I'm a realtor. Guess what? Anyone could get money out of my pocket, and they're like, "Hey, sign up for this, sign up for that." I'm like, "Okay, how much? How much?" So it anyone could. That's just the realtor life. So I fall for that too. But I have people in my life that help me with that. Does that make sense?
yeah.
And I have a Bible study in about 5 minutes. If anyone wants a copy of the greatness tracker, the trackers that I use, you could go ahead and hit that right there, and then we'll send them to you. Sit there on my team. She'll make sure you get them via email, and I'll send them to everyone here, Chris.
You're the man. Can I,
But
would you send it to me, Voltaire, to put it with the recording for them to find it later?
perfect. I'll do that.
Um, we
All
only
right.
have a few minutes before he's bouncing. He's got a hard cutoff because a guy like this has a schedule that he keeps. Who has a burning question? Does anybody have anything so good to change everyone's game in 3 minutes? Voltaire, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate and admire you. I really meant it when I said I thought hard about who I wanted to be opening the year with. And you are a role model agent. You are a role model man. You are a role model servant. You really are. Um, you walk the walk, you talk the talk. And the other aspects of your life speak to it. And like on behalf of the whole BAM fam, we really, really appreciate you.
Thank you guys. Yeah, it was a pleasure. Whatever you need on mine, just let me know. And again, I'm here to serve. And I'm going to be doing this for many more years. So there's no retirement in the near future for me. So appreciate you, Chris. I love what you guys are doing, educating a bunch of realtors. And that's what we need. We just need more people like you, helping people grow their business little by little. But just remember that it's simple and it's relationships and you'll blow up. It takes time, but just invest in those relationships.
If you like that conversation and want even more value, click the link below for a free trial of our BAMX school community to join thousands of agents looking to grow their business and close more deals.